Hey, I have an amazing collection of fantasy books, and I think it's time that we do a deep dive into some of the fantasy books you need on your TBR because I'm obsessed with fantasy. I cannot stop reading it. I'm like a little dragon myself. Feed me all the fantasy books. So let's dive into some amazing fantasy recs. And I'm going to tell you this, they're all going to contain some form of romance. I don't really do high fantasy. So if that's your thing, stick around. This is a YA fantasy book by Elise Kova. This was the first book I've ever read from this author. I'm obsessed with her. This is Dragon Curse, and I could not put this book down. So you meet this girl called Isola, and when she was younger, she fought off a dragon and saved her town. And everybody had her as like this really important character. There's a church, and is he called a vicar? I think he's called a vicar, not a priest. That's in charge of like the town they live in, and he wants Isola to ascend and be like literally his right-hand woman, I guess. And always she's felt this kind of pain beneath her skin growing, and she thinks she's dragon cursed. So in this world, or if you're like angry, stressed, trapped, hungry, you can blow up into a dragon, which I love that concept. I'd be sitting there being like, I'm angry, just to see if I could be a dragon, because I know they were scared to do, they don't want to be dragon cursed, but I would love to be a dragon. Like in my head, I just pictured the one from Shrek, you know, the one that Donkey falls in love with. Like I'd be like that, like that's such a fun dragon. And so they put them through these trials when they reach a certain age. So it's Isola's turn to go through the trials, and will her best friend, her, and this guy who's always been told to watch over her survive? Time will tell, but I absolutely adore Dragon Cursed. I am now patiently waiting for book 2 because it is a duology. There is no spice. I sometimes don't mind that in romantasy. I think if the plot's good, this one definitely has more of a plot focus with the romance as a subplot, and I really enjoyed that break from just heavy, let's have a one bed trope situation. Don't get me wrong, love a one bed trope, but it was nice to have a little bit of a mix-up. Nice to have a little bit of change of scene. Oh, we have Direbound. I currently have Furybound sitting on the shelf downstairs in an advanced copy that I think tomorrow is the day I'm going to start. I've been putting off starting it because I know once I start it, I'm going to want to talk about it, and I can't talk to anyone about it because it's an advanced copy. Oh, I'm going to have to find someone too. So this book has a few different options. I do have the red hardback, which is stunning. They all come in different colours, which I love. And this is Merrin's story. Meet Merrin Cooper. She lives in a world where there's a kind of class system, and you can go and enroll in the army, and at certain points of your life the army are tested to see if they'll bond with direwolves in very, very unusual, very gruesome, very intense circumstances. And there are these things called nappers. They're kind of like kidnappers who are taking children at night, and her sister gets taken. Merrin's pride and joy gets taken. It definitely gives Hunger Games vibes, because obviously in Hunger Games you've got Primrose gets put forward, the mother is not with it. This is very similar in this, like Merrin's mother is away with the fairies. So when her sister gets taken, she decides to enlist in the army and go to the front because she thinks that's where her sister's been taken to, and she's going to find her sister. Of course, the year that Merrin enlists is the year that the dire wolves bounding trials are happening. And of course Merrin's going to bound with a wolf who maybe doesn't want anything to do with her. There are plot twists, there is romance, the plot twists start from like the first section. Like as soon as she hits this castle, the plot twists happen. It also gives me the Empyrean series vibes, because in Fourth Wing, the first book, they're very much set in the compound of Basgiath War College. This is very much set in the King's Castle whilst they're doing these trials to see if they should become a bonded warrior. Merrin is a strong FMC. She takes, like, excuse my language, but she takes no shit. She ain't messing about. And I love that. So yeah, Direbound, oh, so good. Obviously Furybound comes out this year. I feel like a lot of the romancy books I'm going to recommend, you're going to be waiting on a second one. So I do apologise, but this is so good. I've just done a reread of it, and I just want to dive into Furybound. I'm hoping there's more dual point of view. If you know the last chapter of this, you're going to know. You're going to know things, and you're going to know why I want the dual point of view and whose dual point of view it's going to be. Then we have Half City by Kate Golden. I'm in love with a brood demon. He's called Reed, and I'm obsessed with him, and I want to marry him. Like, I'm just saying, that man could do things to me. So this is where you meet a girl called Viv. She has lived her life where her father's passed away. She knows she's a demon hunter, but she thought she was the only demon hunter in the world. So she literally runs around this town that she lives in. I wonder if this has a map in, because I didn't look at if it did. It does have a map. She runs around. Oh, it just has the academy. Fair enough. She runs around in her town and saves people from demons until one day Mr. Reed follows her. Mr. Brood Demon follows her and he's like, we have this place called Harker Academy where you train to fight demons even though he is a demon. It'll all make sense when you read it. And we need you to attend. And when she gets there, she realises like there's millions upon millions of demon hunters and she's been dissing her friends, missing out on life to fight these demons because she thought she was the only one who could. And then she maybe gets a bit hot and heavy with the demon. It's so good. Again, waiting for the next book. I believe this is also going to be a duology. If you were a Shadowhunters fan, so if you love Cassandra Clare, this series is going to draw you in so much. I couldn't put it down as such a page turner. I do wish it was dual point of view, but I don't think Kate Golden is known for writing more than one point of view, looking at her Sacred Stones trilogy. But yeah, again, absolutely adored this. And I would definitely recommend adding it to your TBR if you were a Cassandra Clare fan. It's not exactly that similar, but just the demon hunter elements, running around a city, saving people from demons. Very, very good, if you ask me. Not too spicy. I didn't know, first of all, if it was going to be a YA, but the spice in. So you do end up in a situation where there is some spicy time. I have the Crown of Nyaxia series by Carissa Broadbent. I am holding up book 2 because I don't own book 1 in a hardback copy, and I need to rectify that problem fast. I love this. So this is a very intense world. You've got 2 duologies and 2 standalones. There's a whole reading order. If you want to know the reading order, just drop me a comment and I'll explain it to you in the comments. But in the first duology, you have Araya and Rain's story. So Araya was born human into a world where vampires live, and she has been raised by a vampire king. Now, Araya is a tough cookie, and I think that's why I like her, because as an FMC, she's really strong, she's really intense, and this girl knows what she wants. She wants to compete in the tournament of Nyaxia. So the goddess Nyaxia hosts this tournament, and if you win, you can win a wish. Now, this vampire world is a little bit different to other worlds you've read. To turn into a vampire, yes, you can be bitten, but the chances of survival are very low. So Araya doesn't, like, her father, who is a vampire king, does not want to take that risk with Araya. He's like, no, we're not taking that risk. And so she's going to enlist as the only human into a vampire competition, which to me seems higher risk, but he obviously believes she can do it. So he's like, no, let's enroll you. So off she goes to be enrolled, which you kind of like, fine. I don't know how a human can fight in a competition. And that's when she meets Rain, who is a vampire, and they kind of form a weird alliance to help each other out. But are they aligned, or are they just aligned until it doesn't benefit them? Time will tell. The spice in this is great. The world building in this is great. There's different vampire clans who have different ways of approaching things. It's so good. Obviously, in the second duology, you meet a character you already know. I was about to say their name and I was like, don't do it. You meet a character you already know and you get to see their story and their, like, how they became who they were. And I think we are getting more in this world, which I'm so glad at, because 6 books, I can tell you that, is not enough for me. I will never be bored of this series. 600 books and I would still be reading it. Then we have Shield of Sparrow by Devney Perry, and I'm really scared for the second book in this series because this year I read Bluebird Gold by Devney Perry and I didn't enjoy it, and that was the first time I didn't enjoy a Devney Perry book. So I'm a little bit nervous for the second book in this series, which comes out next month. But Shield of Sparrow is Odessa's story. Odessa's father is the king, and Odessa's mother is no longer alive, so she has a stepmother. And Odessa looks so much like her mother that her stepmother even, like, dyes her hair, paints it this awful colour, so that her father isn't reminded of how much he was in love with this woman who he lost. Like, he didn't just divorce her, like, she died. And Odessa has kind of lived in the shadow of her sister. I'm pretty sure her sister's called Margot. I'm pretty sure she's called Margot. Margot's shadow, and has never made decisions for herself. So Margot has always been promised that she's going to be married off to this kingdom's prince. So to keep this kind of treaty between the two kingdoms, they'll send a prince, they send a princess, they get married, or vice versa, depending on, I guess, the genre of their children. The genre? The gender? Turn your brain on, Mills. The gender of their children. And he turns up, ready to marry Margot, and looks at Odessa and goes, I want her. I want her, and I've just done this 7 bride slaying, so you can't actually say no. And the family are like, what is this 7 bride slaying thing? So, like, he slayed 7 monsters to claim whoever he wants as a bride. So he's like, you're mine. So he takes her across the world. She's never left this world. She's never made a decision for herself. She's never seen outside of her kingdom. She's lived a very sheltered life, and he doesn't talk to her. He sleeps around. He treats her atrociously, really, when you think of it. And Odessa starts to grow a backbone. She starts to grow up. She starts to behave a little bit differently, and I love that for her. I love the growth you get. It's very similar to what you see in Feybound by Sarah Elarifi, that kind of growth in the main character. I love in this. Like, she's already feisty and strong, but she needs to kind of stand on her own 2 feet. Obsessed with this book. The plot twists were amazing. Storyline's amazing. It's so good. And I am nervous book 2 just because Bluebird Gold didn't hit. And I'm like, come on, Devney Perry, do some good writing with this one. But yeah, loved it. Love the setting. Love the monsters. Love the like arranged marriage situation. You know, I love an arranged marriage. We have The Wolf King by Lauren Palferman. I'm currently halfway through book 2 and loving it just as much, but I think the fantasy level of book 2 shoots up so much compared to book 1. Like, the concentration for this book, I read it in 4 hours. I didn't need to concentrate. With book 2, I'm like, who's this? Who's that? There's a lot more political dynamics going on. So in this book, you meet Aurora. I always forget her name. Princess Aurora. And she is being forced to marry a man who... he's evil, he's cruel, he's not the man you would want to marry. And he captures wolves and makes them fight. So these wolves are obviously men who turn into wolves. And one day she's there watching these wolves fight, and this alpha called Callum is going to literally annihilate this young wolf, and she stops the fight and then gets kidnapped by Callum and ends up in a really spicy love triangle with Callum and somebody else who I'm not going to say. And it's so good. There's drama, there's tension. It gives ACOTAR vibes so much. In book 2, I was about to say how, let's not spoil ACOTAR for people who haven't read it, but yeah, it gives ACOTAR book 2 vibes. I'm not going to say how, but I absolutely adored this. I found it so easy to read. I found it so easy to engage me. I'm pretty sure Lauren Palferman started off on Wattpad, so this is proof that when everyone says, they wrote on Wattpad, really good authors wrote on Wattpad. Pretty sure that's where she started out. But yeah, you definitely need to add this. We are obviously waiting for book 3, which is coming out this year because they were originally indie published and they have now been trad published. But this book, my God, it's so good. It's so good. I am liking book 2, but I still think book 1. I don't know if you guys like me with fantasy. I often prefer book 1, book 2, and then book 3 I'm back to being obsessed again. So we'll see if that happens in this situation. Is it a me video? Is it Mill's video without talking about the Crimson Moth duology? And yes, I do own the collector's editions of these from HarperCollins that you can no longer get your hands on because I am obsessed. So you have a witch who is saving other witches from witch hunters, and she calls herself the Crimson Moth. And her name is Rune. She calls herself the Crimson Moth. And then you have Gideon, who is the head of the witch hunters and the witch guard, and he looks at Rune and thinks, you're either the Crimson Moth or you're involved with the Crimson Moth. There's something off about this ditzy socialite that she plays. She definitely pretends like, oh, I've just been to a party and oh, it was wonderful and oh, I drank a little bit too much champagne. Like, that's how she talks in my head. It is kind of set as if it was like Bridgerton vibes, but with fantasy, and I love that. So he starts to try and seduce her, she starts to try and seduce him. This whole like, I'm going to find out about you, I'm going to stop you from finding out about me goes on with this great seduction, and I'm obsessed with it. And book 2 destroyed me. The way I cried reading The Rebel Witch, it was not okay. And I love the quotes. I will never stop hunting for you no matter where you go. And I know the Crimson Moth and she is no caged thing. Like, the growth you get from the 2 characters in book 2 is just amazing. If you haven't read Kristen Ciccarelli before, I would say this counts as new adult. I wouldn't say it's YA because they do have suggestive bedroom language. It's not exactly like what he did and where he put things, but there is definitely that suggestive bedroom language that I would class it as a new adult book. And honestly, you need this on your TBR because it's just too good to resist. I think we have to talk about the Bloodwing Academy by Briar Boleyn. I thought I had finished this series with book 3, and there's a book 4 announcement. Thought it was going to be a trilogy. I should have known based on other series that Briar Boleyn has written, and then I've seen everyone saying that this is cringe. Sorry, if you don't like an academy setting and you think academy settings are cringe, that's fine, but it's not cringe. So this is about a girl called Merida. It's the name remembering for me, who wakes up on a pile of stinky dead bodies, and she's like, how on earth have I got here? And she knows in her head that she is a fae, and she comes from a fae land, and she doesn't know how she got there. Spoiler, there is a whole series that you meant to read before this, but I didn't. And it hasn't bothered me that much. But I know people have read it. And this vampire sniffs her out. Blake. I want to say he is called Blake. I'm now doubting myself. I'm going to call him Blake. If he's not called Blake, let me know in the comments. But in my head, he's called Blake. She's called She's not called Merida. She's called Medra. I'm calling her Merida because of, whatchamacallit. Is he called Blake? Yeah, he is called Blake. And he takes her to see his dad, who's like this vampire king, and he's like, all right, great, now you can marry her. Like, or be a vampire consort, and you can attend the Bloodwing Academy because she's got auburn hair, and surely she is a long-lost dragon rider. There's spice, there's drama, there's kind of like high school bullying between girls. I love it. If you like Zodiac Academy, I always say this, but if you like Zodiac Academy, you will definitely enjoy this series, so I would recommend picking it up. Really easy to read, super fun. I'm waiting for book 4 now patiently, but we will see if I do get around to reading book 4 on time. We know that's a problem of mine. Once I start reading a series, I'm really excited for the next book to come out, and then I find it really hard to actually commit and read the next book. Little bit problem of mine, but very, 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 very good series. Definitely one you need on your TBR. We have We Who Will Die by Stasia Stark. I don't think I should say this is 10 series that you should read if you like fantasy romance. I think this is 10 unfinished series. I think so far I've only suggested one series that is completed. Problem. So you meet Arvella. She lives in a world where at a certain age you go through a trial. If you pass that trial, you can get on with your life, do what you want, live happily. And she's passed her trial, so she's like, I don't have to fight anymore. She's going to care for her 2 brothers, and one day she goes to this pharmacy to get her brother's medications, not there, and a vampire has taken her brothers captive. She's like, sweet, I thought I was free of this life. And he's like, I need you to enroll in this trial, which is where you become, like, you can become a god for the city. And she's like, oh, I really don't want to. I've done my trial, mate. I've survived it just about. I lost my best friend in it. Got a load of drama and load of stress and load of trauma. And he's like, no, but I've got your brother, so you kind of have to. Not only do you have to survive in the trials where most of the people are going to be vampires, because why would humans want to enter the trials? You are then going to get close to the vampire emperor and remove him from the world. So you can imagine the emotions going through this girl. She's traumatized from previous trials. She loves her brother, so she's not going to let them go. But physically, she is not built to do the tasks that this man is asking of her, or has any understanding to why a vampire wants the vampire emperor, who's like this ancient, old, really powerful vampire, removed from the world. She cannot work it out. And she knows something's a bit fishy, but she can't put a finger on it. The plot twist near the beginning of this book is great. It really builds as you work your way through it. If you love that kind of trial dynamics of fighting through things, this is absolutely amazing. And of course you need it on your TBR. I am obsessed and I cannot wait to see where Stasia Stark will take me next. Everybody has said they've read quite a few Stasia Stark books and loved them, so I don't know what her other books are called, but I definitely need to pick up more from her because her writing style was super easy to read. So yeah, she's definitely gonna be on my TBR in the future. Finally, at this point, if you're going to call yourself a romancy lover and you haven't read the Empyrean series, you've got something seriously wrong with you, because this is top tier. This is gold. It's printed in gold for a reason. So we have the Empyrean series. We currently have Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, and Onyx Stormount. We know 2 more books are coming. And yesterday she did a little number 4 on a board, so we know she's currently writing book 4. You better not break my heart, Rebecca Yarros, because the end of book 3, this is just if you're watching Rebecca Yarros, you better not do it. Meet Violet Sorrengail. Violet Sorrengail is a small person. She has joints that pop out of place, a little bit of disability representation in there, a little bit of like illness representation. And Violet just wants to work in the library at Basgiath War College. She gets there, she's like, great. And her mother, who is a general, and her whole family are like all strong dragon riders. Her dad was more of the brains, he's passed away. Her mother's like, no, Violet. You are going to be a dragon rider. You are going to train to be a dragon rider, and you are going to pass, because the only way to survive it is you have to bond with a dragon and survive all the trials. Again, I just love a trial setting. I think reading Hunger Games at such a young age, anything where you've got this kind of trial, you're locked in an arena, you're locked into situations, I'm obsessed with. Book 1 is super easy to read because you're all set within Basgiath War College. Book 2 and 3, they obviously they've done their training, they can start to move out. Gets a little bit more tricky with the fantasy, I have to say. I'm a big fantasy reader, so I found it fine, but I know a lot of people struggle more with book 2 and 3. She's also going to tear your heart out at the end of every single book, rip it into shreds, and then maybe reintroduce people multiple times into a storyline, whether they are still alive or not, that time will tell, and tear your heart out again. So get the tissues ready for this one, that's for sure. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had a really fun time going through some romances. Do let me know in the comments your favourite romantasy, and make sure you turn on subscribe and turn the notifications on so you're notified when I post in the future. See you guys later.